The scariest part of the AI job market is not just losing jobs, it is losing the first step that teaches people how to become good at work. For years, internships were the bridge between school and a real career. You did basic tasks, watched how professionals worked, made small mistakes, and slowly learned what quality looked like. The pay was not always great, but the learning was real. Now, many students and new graduates are facing a strange problem. The tasks that used to make internships useful are also the tasks AI tools are getting better at doing. Summaries, first drafts, research notes, data cleanup, simple code, and basic customer messages are easier to automate or speed up. This does not mean every internship is disappearing. The evidence is mixed by industry, company size, and role. Some employers are still hiring interns. Some are even creating AI-focused student roles. But the entry point is clearly changing, and beginners need to adapt. The real issue is the apprenticeship gap. Companies still want skilled people, but fewer want to spend months teaching the basics. That creates a painful loop. You need experience to get the internship, but you need the internship to get experience. Beginners usually start with structured work. They collect information, organize files, write drafts, test simple things, and follow instructions from senior people. AI is strongest when work is structured and repeatable. So the first tasks to change are often the beginner tasks. But AI has not removed the need for judgment. Someone still has to define the problem, check the output, understand the customer, notice mistakes, and make trade-offs. That is where human experience still matters. The challenge is proving you can do those things before someone gives you a formal role. In the old system, the internship title itself was the signal. If your resume said you interned at a known company, employers assumed you had been trained and tested. In the new system, a title helps, but proof of work matters more. Proof of work means showing what you can actually do, not just saying you are interested in marketing, analytics, design, finance, or software. You create something small, useful, and visible. Then you use it as evidence when you reach out or apply. Think of a traditional internship as a full meal. It gave you projects, feedback, a manager, coworkers, and a line on your resume. If that full meal is harder to get, you can build the ingredients separately. Projects, feedback, references, and real users can come from different places. The new strategy is not to wait for one perfect opportunity. It is to build a small experience engine. You create projects, get feedback, meet people, improve your work, and document the process. Over time, that engine creates the signal an internship used to provide. If this kind of practical career breakdown helps you think more clearly about work, consider subscribing. The goal here is simple. We take confusing shifts in the job market and turn them into steps you can actually use. The first step is choosing a target role, at least for the next month. Do not try to build experience for every career at once. A future data analyst, product marketer, UX designer, accountant, and software engineer need different proof. Pick one lane long enough to make progress. Once you pick a role, read 5 to 10 real job posts. Ignore the scary parts for a moment. Look for repeated tasks. If many postings mention dashboards, customer research, financial models, campaign reports, or bug fixes, those are clues for your first project. A good portfolio project is not random. It is a practice version of the work someone would pay for. If a role asks for reporting, build a report. If it asks for customer insight, analyze reviews. If it asks for automation, build a simple workflow and explain the trade-offs. For example, a marketing student could choose a small local business and create a one-page growth audit using public information. The project could include audience research, 3 content ideas, and a simple measurement plan. That is more useful than saying you are passionate about marketing. A data-focused student could use a public dataset and answer a real question. What changed over time? Which segment behaves differently? And what decision would you recommend? The final result does not need to be fancy. It needs to show you're thinking clearly. A software student could build a small tool that solves an annoying problem. It might organize files, track habits, summarize notes, or connect two simple services. The key is to include a README that explains the problem, choices, limitations, and what you would improve next. Using AI in these projects is not cheating if you are honest and thoughtful. In many workplaces, AI is becoming part of the workflow. The important skill is not pretending you did everything manually. It is showing that you can guide the tool, check the output, and take responsibility. Do not only show the polished final result. Show the process. Include the question you started with, the sources you used, the options you considered, the mistakes you caught, and the final recommendation. Employers want to see how you think when the answer is not obvious. You do not need 20 projects. 3 strong projects are usually better than 12 shallow ones. Each project should prove a different ability. One can show technical skill, one can show communication, and one can show business judgment or user empathy. Micro-internships are short, paid or unpaid projects that last days or weeks instead of a full season. They can be useful because they lower the risk for both sides. A company gets help on a specific task, and you get a real example of client or workplace experience. A micro-internship is most valuable when the scope is clear. You want a defined deliverable, a deadline, and some form of feedback. Be careful with vague projects that ask for free labor without learning, credit, or a usable portfolio result. If you cannot find a formal opportunity, look nearby. Clubs, nonprofits, student groups, local shops, and online communities often have messy problems. They need flyers, spreadsheets, websites, research, social content, event plans, and simple automations. Small problems can become real experience. Do not ask, "Can I intern for you?" That is a big request. Instead say, "I noticed one small thing I might help improve. Could I spend 2 weeks making a draft, and then you can tell me if it is useful?" A smaller ask gets more yeses. Alumni outreach works best when it is not begging for a job. Ask for a 15-minute perspective call. Mention the role you are exploring, one project you are building, and one specific question. People are more likely to help when they can see your effort. Instead of asking, "Are you hiring interns?" ask what entry-level people struggle with in that role. Ask what a strong beginner portfolio would include. Ask what tasks AI has changed in their team. These questions teach you the hidden rules of the job. After a conversation, send a short thank you note and include one improvement you made because of their advice. This turns networking into a feedback loop. You are not collecting contacts. You are collecting insight, improving your work, and building trust over time. Public learning means sharing what you are building as you build it. This could be a short post, a case study, a GitHub update, a design breakdown, or a simple thread about what you learned. You are making your effort easier to discover. But be careful. Public learning is not the same as pretending to be an expert. You can say, "I am learning this, and here is what I tried." That is honest. It makes you look curious, coachable, and serious without overselling yourself. Because AI is changing beginner work, you should learn how to work with AI on purpose. Practice writing clear prompts, checking sources, comparing outputs, spotting hallucinations, protecting private information, and turning rough AI drafts into clean human decisions. The more AI handles routine output, the more valuable human context becomes. Can you talk to a stakeholder, understand what they really need, explain a trade-off, and revise without getting defensive? These skills are harder to automate, and internships used to teach them naturally. If you are building experience outside a company, you must create your own feedback. Ask a professor, alumnus, community manager, freelancer, or working professional to review one specific piece of work. Do not ask if it is good. Ask what would make it more useful. Whenever possible, record outcomes. Maybe your spreadsheet saved a club officer 2 hours. Maybe your website helped a nonprofit explain its services. Maybe your research changed which audience a student group targeted. Small outcomes are still outcomes if they are true and specific. Do not respond to a shrinking internship market by mass applying in silence and waiting. Applications still matter, but silence gives you no feedback and no new evidence. A better plan is to apply, build, reach out, improve, and repeat every week. Here is a simple weekly rhythm. Apply to a few relevant roles. Spend focused time on one project. Contact 2 people for advice. Publish or update one small piece of proof. Review what got responses, then adjust. This turns anxiety into motion. The future is not settled. Some companies may cut beginner roles. Others may redesign internships around AI, judgment, and faster learning. What you can control is your signal. If the traditional first step is weaker, build a stronger one yourself. AI may shrink some internships, but it does not shrink your ability to learn in public, solve small, real problems, and prove your judgment. The new Career Starter Pack is not just a resume. It is a portfolio, feedback, relationships, and evidence that you can grow. If you are trying to build experience without a traditional internship, leave a comment with your target role and your biggest obstacle. I may use your question for a future video, and your idea might help someone else find their next step too.